Take Action Real Estate Podcast, episode 30. Welcome, everybody, to the Take Action Real Estate Podcast. I'm John Horner with my business partner, Brian Reitler. We're coming to you from Dublin, Ohio, near Columbus, Central Ohio. And we've been investing here in Columbus together for about 5 years. We do multifamily, single family. We flip houses. We have a good-sized rental portfolio of about 125, 130 properties. And we love sharing our knowledge and experience with you. We have fun, getting together weekly and kind of talking about, what we're doing, goals, having guests on the show, talking about deals we've done, and we hope that you can learn from us. So hopefully you enjoy. Brian, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Getting pretty excited about the market. A little bit picking up. Maybe it's just the houses we've put on, but got a whole bunch of showings of, I think we listed 3 houses over the last couple days, and a bunch of showings came in over the last 2 days,
and we're in contract as of yesterday on another one.
Yep.
And this was it was a tight deal. It was actually on the MLS, and the owners had contacted us because they one of them had already accepted a job somewhere else. They had a house, I believe, in contract somewhere else, and they were just really in a hurry to get rid of it. And I think it was listed at $160, and we picked it up for $128. I think what did we decide? We put about $3,000 into it, $4,000 into it, listed it for $169, and yesterday we signed a contract for $163. So it's not a huge margin deal. We should walk away with between $15,000 and $20,000 in profit, but we don't want to. Even though it's not quite the 20% that we're looking for, we were pretty confident in the comps, and so we didn't want to throw away a $15,000 or $20,000 profit just because it was a little less percentage than we wanted.
Yeah, and the fact that it had already been on the MLS, and I think they even had it in contract, but then it fell out for, I don't even know why it fell out, but so we knew that the price point was pretty good and reliable.
Right. Other than that, we are just dealing with the aftermath of the blizzard we got last week. We had about, 5 inches?
Huge blizzard. It was a whiteout.
Which is more than we've had all year, so that's fun. We got out to go sledding with the kids and stuff last weekend and had a good time, and I always enjoy the snow. My wife enjoys about 1 snow a year, and that's all she can handle. I could do a little more, but welcome to Ohio. So this is kind of a part 2. Last episode, we kind of reflected on 2018 and what we had done right and wrong, and maybe some things that we could have changed. And so this is kind of a part 2 of that. We want to talk about kind of our goals and explain kind of how we set our goals and really kind of what we're looking to do. And hopefully this can be a little bit of an outline for you if, in early 2019 right now, it's January, and there's still time to kind of set your goals and outline for the year. And, we're here to hopefully help you, reach those goals.
Absolutely. Last year we went through not quite as simple. We kind of honed in a little bit our process this year, but last year we set some goals and we didn't quite reach them, but man, we had a great year. If we hadn't set those goals and really worked toward them, I feel like we wouldn't have had as good a year as we did. And compared to the year before, I mean, it was a phenomenal year. So we're really looking forward to this year, and we really have spent some time on planning and figuring out what's going to be best to reach our goals. And I think we made better goals this year than last year, as far as more things that we can control versus, like last year, I think we talked about, let's do this many deals or let's buy this many houses. And you can't really control that unless you fudge your numbers, or, you can to some extent, but what the things we can control are like, how much marketing are we going to do? How much money are we going to spend on marketing? What kind of marketing? What people are we going to hire? How are we going to spend our money? That kind of thing is more what's in our control. And hopefully those actions that we take lead to sort of the end goal of numbers that we want to hit as far as houses or properties bought, sold, that kind of thing.
Right. And it's a lot of analyzing what's going to get you to those numbers. So, if we have our end goal at $1 million net per year, let's say, just for example, that might be flipping 50 houses at $20,000 profit per year, right? Or that might be 10 houses at $100,000 profit per year. So it really depends on kind of your niche and how you think you want to get there. So we spend a lot of time, because we do both rentals and flips. I spend a lot of time looking at the forecast and basically trying to decide, how many more rentals do we need to get to X amount of dollars, and then how many flips do we want to do? We want to continue growing our rental portfolio, but at the same time, we need profit to pay the bills and to pay, for Brian and I to live and feed our families off of. So that's a balance as well, and it's something really every company has to decide for themselves.
I mean, I think particularly our company, our main strategy right now is we're trying to build a rental portfolio that eventually one day will support our families and just as passive income, support John's family, my family, and then any employees that we need to keep around to sustain that. So someday we can't flip houses, someday we can't, the market just is such that we can't buy to sell, or, we get to a place where we just don't want to do it anymore. So everything we do as far as flipping is to sustain and build that goal. So, we're trying to build a rental portfolio, and the flipping helps us get there with income, temporary income that supplements the rental income as it's growing.
Right. And really the growth is the whole aspect in that. I mean, I think we're at a point where if we stop growing, stop buying, we could, sustain our families off of the income that we make. But because we're still in growth mode, we have a lot of employees that are dedicated to that growth, acquisitions managers, and we spend a lot of money on marketing, and we're spending more and more. Last year we bought 70 units, and this year we want to buy double that, let's say. So we're paying twice as much in marketing, and I guess it's kind of like you said, but I feel like the flips are kind of paying for the growth.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
So the rental properties are kind of the bread and butter. They pay our salaries, but the flip income really pays for those acquisitions, employees, and such.
Absolutely.
So one thing we're doing in the new year is there's a book called Traction. I think we've talked about it probably 3 or 4 times on the podcast by Gino Wickman. It's an excellent book for management. If you have any employees, and really could be internal or external employees, whether you're dealing with realtors or contractors or whatever, they don't have to be W-2 employees in a business that you have. But we've been going through this with our management team, and it's really helped us kind of look forward further than we normally would, I guess. The first thing they have you do is look at your 10-year goal. And I mean, for us, I think that was very difficult at first. It's hard to look that far ahead when you're kind of living in the business. I thought you had something to say.
No, and I agree with that. 10 years out, I mean, heck, as I look back just in my life over the last 10 years, my life's completely different than it was 10 years ago. And so it's really hard to think for me, what's going to be, where do I want to be in 10 years? Because the whole trajectory of my life changed in the last 10 years.
Right. And it also has you look at 3-year, 1 year, and then it breaks it down into kind of quarterly plans and weekly. They call them weekly rocks. So these are things that you talk to your employees about. Each of them have specific goals that you kind of discuss weekly, or at least take a look at weekly and make sure they're on track. So and it's kind of like I kind of went back and forth. I started at 10-year and thought, man, where do we want to be? Set that goal, and then kind of worked backwards. And after we worked backwards, we kind of thought, well, what did we do in the last 12 months? Like if we did that in 12 months, then my 10-year goal is way off. We can do way better than that in 10 years. So I kind of worked my way back up and said, okay, if we can do that in 1 year, then we should be able to do this in 3 years, and we should be able to do this in 10 years. So it's kind of a back and forth process to get to really the point that you want to be. Another part I really enjoyed about the book was the data points. Basically, it has you break down every position of every employee. And like I said, it doesn't have to be an internal employee. It could be external. But it basically puts a number to each employee in each position that you have, a way that you can grade them and kind of gauge their performance over the weeks, months, quarters, years, whatever.
Yeah, so as we all set goals in our company for what this year is going to look like, we'll take time to make sure that each employee, and we're going through this process with each one of them right now, that their goals for their job line up with the whole company goal. And then how can we sort of quantify their goal? Because you want to be able to grade or see that people are achieving or reaching their goal on a regular basis. So, for instance, just like maintenance, if maintenance calls come in, one of the things we want to do is we want to make sure every maintenance call is addressed in that first 24 hours. So that's one of our numbers. on a regular basis, weekly, we're going to be looking at, did we touch each one of these? Every maintenance call that comes in, did it get a touch either to the contractor and back to the tenant that we're dealing with the problem within the first 24 hours? So that's just one example of how we can quantify, because we can see in our software what time it came in. We can see when it's coded. We can see when the contractor's contacted, et cetera. So we can track, are we hitting those numbers?
Right. And like for another example for sales and acquisitions, our goal might be buying 10 houses a month, okay? But we can't really directly control how many houses we buy a month. So some of the data points for that might be, every lead that we get gets a call within 20 minutes of coming in. Or, when we talk to somebody, we follow up with them after a week, after a month, after a quarter. And, we make sure to have this follow-up process system in process. And also could be marketing. So we will market, we will send out 15,000 mailers a month, whether absentee or owner occupied, and mixing that up. And then the web marketing as well. So, buying 10 houses a month is not something that we can control directly, but things we can control are the marketing, the follow-up, the way that we contact them, the way that we negotiate with them. And so those are the data points that we have for, a position like that, just as an example.
Yeah, and the fruit of all that is, in the end, we're buying more property, or buying the numbers of properties that we want to hit this year.
Right. And so, that's going to be, the goal may be, the 10 houses per month. That may be kind of a lagging goal because, let's say we go 1 month, 2 month, and we're doing everything that we think we can, and maybe we're only buying 6, or maybe we're only buying 8. So then we have to look at it and kind of react to that throughout the year. So we say, okay, maybe 15,000 a month isn't enough. Let's bump it up to 20. Or maybe following up once a month isn't enough. Let's follow up twice a month. So making changes that you're not going to see right away, but hopefully come March, April, May, you're going to start seeing those numbers increase as we're changing things.
The second big area that we really are focusing on this year is honing our processes for each one of our staff, figuring out what exactly they do, how they do it, down to like which part of the screen do you click to get this thing done. If they've got a job doing some things in software, or how do you follow up with a lead, and breaking that down into when you call, what you say on the call. So we're really going to spend, and we've our office manager, she's kind of in charge of that, and we're helping her get together with each employee to nail down specifically what they do. So when they're not here, we can hand that task off to someone else, whether they're on vacation or sick. We had someone break their foot the other day, and they were out for a few days, and so we had to sort through how to deal with what they do on a day-to-day basis, and it really pointed at some holes in our processes that we really want to hone in on this year.
Right, and there's a lot of reasons to do this. Number one, and I talk about this all the time, and we just kind of talk to our staff about why we do this as well, but it helps you be more efficient in your position as well. So if you're the sales and acquisitions manager and you write down every single thing that you do, you're going to be going through that process, and you're going to be looking at it, and there's going to be things you're going to take out because you might think, wow, this isn't very efficient. Why am I doing this? Or, boy, I could pass this on to a VA and have them do it for $3 an hour and not spend my time doing it, right? So that's kind of the reason number one. Reason number two is when people are gone. So when people take vacation, or they break their foot or whatever, and they're not available to do their job, somebody like Brian and I, or one of our other employees, we want them to be able to easily step in and be able to do that job just by looking at the process manual. Even some of the process manuals we had, I think when this person was out, we got in to look at the process manual and couldn't really follow. It just wasn't detailed enough. And that's really on us. I mean, we need to dictate how these things are done. And the third reason is growth. So Brian is currently our rehab manager, and we're looking pretty soon to, hire a rehab manager on that will free Brian up. Well, how are you going to do that without a process manual? So Brian's going to need to work hard to put that together so that when we hire somebody, they walk in and they have a manual for basically every part of that position. You're not going to be able to grow unless you can document what you're doing and outsource that to someone else.
Yeah, I think one of the ancillary benefits to doing this is, if you get your processes nailed down, one of the things that we're talking about doing is how can we create businesses that are sort of byproducts of our work. So if we create processes and we have resources that we're using to supplement or to support our company, maybe there's other people out there that want to have access to that information, and we can sell that information to them, or teach them how to use it through some sort of course. So there's sort of side benefits to going through this as well. If you make your business more efficient, I think other people out there will want to learn as well how to do that.
Right. Yeah, so another thing that we're doing, and this kind of rolls into the traction book that we're reading, is revisiting those goals. So a lot of people, January 1st, they're setting their goals for the year, and unfortunately, they may follow them for a week or two, and then they kind of fall off and they don't really look at them. Or maybe they write them in a journal, and 6 months in, they look at it again and go, oh, yeah, man, I was going to do that. And, well, there's not enough time now, so we'll just start it again next year. And so like we were talking about in the book Traction, it's, every week you're looking at them, every quarter, every year. And, I think that it's very important. I personally, I journal every morning. I write down my goals. I write down, what I'm trying to do, what my focus needs to be. And that has been extremely helpful for me, both in, personal life, family, and as well as business, to really, write down what is the most important thing, what is the priority that I should be working on that day, and really looking at, doing affirmations and looking at what what my goals are for the whole year as well. So that helps keep me focused. I recommend it to everybody I talk to. I think that it's very important.
Definitely important, and I think not only you looking at them, but bringing some accountability into it. I was meeting with a friend yesterday, and we were talking about some goals that we wanted to grow in places in our lives, sort of personal areas. And so we were challenging each other. How can we help each other, hold each other accountable to this commitment that we're making? And so weekly, we're going to check in and we're going to have a conversation. Hey, how did you do on this? Did you do the thing that you said you were going to do last week? And so just bringing an outside person in to say, I don't want to go to my meeting with him next Monday and not have made some movement forward towards that piece of, that goal that I set.
Right. And that goes along with kind of getting your internal and external customers involved as well. Our contractors, making sure that they're aware of our goals for the year and they're aware of what we're going to expect for them and how we need to reach those goals. Our employees, we do performance reviews with them, but this year we're going to be doing it differently, and we're getting a poster, kind of a big banner printed with all of our core values on it so that everybody knows kind of how they're going to be graded. We have 5 core values that we've come up with, and that's going to be the most important thing for all of our employees to follow, and that's how they'll be graded. So kind of rolling that out to everybody, and they can hold you accountable, you can hold them accountable, and if you we're going to start having quarterly meetings with our employees in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to be very clear about what we expect and where we want to be, and obviously we want them to be all on board with it. And so as long as if they're clear with our goal, then when we have our next quarterly meeting, we'll be able to grade them on that.
And I think for me at least, and I would say John too, we're heavy on relationship. Like we want the people that work here and the people that we're connected with they're not just robots or automatons. They have lives, and we want them to experience life to its fullest. We want them to enjoy the place they work. We want them to enjoy the people they work with and for. And so we're trying to create an environment where people are challenged to get better. They're not like browbeaten to do what we tell them to do, but we want to collaborate with them to create a culture of just thriving and living life to its fullest. And so it excites me to walk alongside people that maybe they're struggling in a certain area, and we can figure out ways to help them overcome that struggle and solve the problem in their life, whatever that challenge is, to get them to the next level.
Right. Automatons, that sounds like something from like Star Trek or something. Was that?
That's the Borg.
Word of the day, everybody. Yeah, the last thing we have is just take action. I mean, obviously that's what we try to do, and it's funny, like our office manager kind of makes fun of Brian and I sometimes if we're having trouble making a decision or going one direction. She'll be like, "Well, take action, guys. It's kind of practice what you preach." Yeah, I mean, if you're not doing deals and you want to, the only way to get into it is to take action. I had a phone call with a guy yesterday. He's working a full-time day job, and he's trying to get out and do his own thing, and he's looking for financial freedom. And I mean, this guy's taking action. He's going to all the meetups he can. He's networking with everything he can. He, introduced himself to me and asked if he could have a call with me. Very, polite but motivated. And that's a good example of getting out there and trying to make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, we have this whole list here. I mean, you could call a real estate agent and talk to them about, hey, can you help me start looking at houses? Or maybe you have a family member that has some extra money and you want to partner with them and see if they'll fund a deal that you've found. There's a whole slew of different things you can do. My brother's working on putting together his first mailer. It's got like 500 names on it. So he's trying to take action and make a change in his life. There's little things you can do, from making a phone call to John or myself, or big things to going and talking to bankers and submitting applications for credit and, finding a deal and taking action. So go for it.
Yeah, or pick up some real estate books and start reading those. And I mean, everybody knows an agent or probably somebody who's investing. Reach out to them, have a call with them, or pick their brain, whatever they'll let you do. Go to the job site, learn from what they're doing, what kind of rehabs they're doing, just anything to kind of, I guess, expand your knowledge of real estate. So thanks for joining us. Next week we have Brad Clarizio, great guest. He's going to be talking about anything from Airbnb to, I think, house hacking and doing flips and rentals and, the things that he's learned. And it's a great episode. Hope you guys enjoy it. For this episode, you can see the show notes at takeactionrealestate.com/episode 30. Other than that, thanks for listening. We enjoy you guys. Appreciate you supporting us. And feel free to like the podcast if you guys enjoy it so other people can enjoy it as well. And feel free to reach out to us if you have any deals you want to get rid of or just need any advice.
Yeah, we love to reach out. We love to talk to people and share our knowledge and experience. So we hope to hear from you and get out and take some action in 2019.
Thank you.